Very good morning. In the present lecture, we shall try to know about the role of photosynthetic pigments in bringing about photosynthesis. See, the photosynthetic pigments, otherwise called as photosystems, they are nothing but a group of pigment molecules which coordinate themselves, and they are very much essential to bring about the photochemical reaction. Such group of pigments are called as photosystems or pigment systems. Emerson suggested that there are two pigment systems. Park and Biggins, two scientists, named these photosystems as quantasomes. Otherwise, they are also called as photosynthetic units. According to Emerson, there are two kinds of photosystems on granule lamellae and stromal lamellae of the chloroplast. These photosystems are respectively called as pigment system 1, otherwise it is called as photosystem 1, pigment system 2, otherwise it is called as photosystem 2. Coming on to the first one, that is photosystem 1 or pigment system 1, it is very small in size when compared to photosystem 2, and the size of the photosystem 1 is about 110 angstroms, usually present on the outer surface of both grana lamellae and stroma lamellae of the chloroplast. It is composed of pigment molecules and electron carriers. The pigment molecules are chlorophylls and carotenoids present in this photosystem 1. It contains about 200 chlorophyll molecules, which includes chlorophyll A 700, chlorophyll A 680, and chlorophyll A 690, out of which a single molecule of chlorophyll A 700 constitutes the reaction center. Reaction center means to say, out of 200 chlorophyll molecules, all these chlorophyll molecules absorb light energy, but the capacity of converting that light energy which is absorbed into chemical energy is only vested with the one particular molecule found at the center, and it is called as reaction center. In photosystem 1, chlorophyll A 700 act as a reaction center. All these pigments absorb light energy, as I told, but the conversion is brought about only by a reaction center. Energy rich electrons are expelled from it for further photochemical reaction. In addition to it, chlorophyll B, in addition to chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B and other 50 molecules of carotenes are present. In total, 200 plus 50, 250 pigment molecules are present in photosystem 1. Electron carriers which are present in photosystem 1 are paradoxin, reducing substance, one or two molecules of paradoxin, cytochrome B6, cytochrome F, and a plastocyan. These are the components of photosystem 1. The photosystem 1 take part in attracting or trapping the light energy and its conversion into chemical energy. That is, it takes part in photochemical act. Photosystem 1 involves in cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation, and photosystem 1 take part in production of assimilatory powers like formation of NADP, H, and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate reduced, and ATP, adenosine triphosphate molecules. Moving on to photosystem 1 2, it is comparatively larger in size and and measures around 185 angstroms. It is located on the inner surface of the granular lamellae, contrary to that of the photosystem 1. It is composed of pigment molecules and electron carriers. And the pigment molecules includes about 250 pigment molecules of chlorophyll A, B, and 50 molecules of carotenoids and xanthophylls. So in total, 250 plus 50, 300 pigment molecules are present in photosystem 2. Chlorophyll A includes chlorophyll A660 and chlorophyll A670, out of which a single molecule of chlorophyll A680, or otherwise called P680, constitutes the reaction center. Photosystem 2 also contain electron carriers such as pheophytin, a molecule of plastoquinone, and 2 moles of cytochrome B6, and unknown protein like zinc and manganese. See, this photosystem too take part in attracting light energy and its conversion into chemical energy. It also involves only in non-cyclic photophosphorylation, whereas photosystem 1 involves in both cyclic and non-cyclic. Photosystem 2 involves in photoionization of water and liberation of oxygen, and it takes part in production of assimilatory power like ATP molecules. And both pigment systems are believed to be interconnected by a third integral protein complex called as cytochrome BF complex. And the other intermediate components of the electron transport chain like plastoquinone and plastocyanin act as mobile electron carriers between two pigment systems. If we look at the differences between photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, as already explained, to put it in an organized manner, PS1 is found in thylakoid membrane of the stromal lamellae, whereas PS2 is found in thylakoid. It is also found in thylakoid membrane. The PS1 contains pigments like chlorophyll A660, A670, A680, A690, and chlorophyll A700. Here in photosystem 2, in addition to chlorophyll B, chlorophyll A660, A670, A678, A680, and chlorophyll A690 in addition to phycobilins are found. Chlorophyll A700 is the reaction center in PS1, whereas in PS2, P680, chlorophyll P680, chlorophyll A680 or P680 constitutes the reaction center. Chlorophyll A content is more in PS1, whereas chlorophyll A content is less in PS2. And PS1 is active both in red and far red light, whereas PS2 is inactive in far red light. And PS1 is associated with both cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. PS2 is associated with only non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Wavelength longer than 680 nanometers affects only pigment system 1, whereas wavelength of light shorter than 680 nanometers affect both pigment systems. So while explaining photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, all these factors have been given separately, and now here in this slide the difference has been given. That is, what about the reaction center? It is found both in PS1 as well in PS2. Reaction center is nothing but a pigment molecule which is capable of absorbing light and converting light energy into chemical energy. Such a pigment present in both PS1 and PS2 forms what is called as reaction center. Photosystem 1 is located on the outer surface of thylakoid membrane and is bind to the special reaction center known as P700. Whereas PS2 is located on the inner surface of the thylakoid membrane and the reaction center is known as P680. The group of pigment molecules which take part in conversion of light energy into chemical energy is known as a photosynthetic unit. PS1 and PS2 are the two types of photosynthetic units. Each unit has a reaction center of a specific chlorophyll A molecule which absorbs light energy of long wavelengths. This reaction center is also known as photocenter. These centers can release electrons upon absorption of energy. In PS1, reaction center chlorophyll A has an absorption peak at 700 nanometers, hence it is called as P700. Contrary to this, the PS2, the reaction center has an absorption peak of 680 nanometer and is called as P680. In addition to this pigment system 1, pigment system 2, we also have antenna molecules. So these each pigment system consists of a central core complex and a light harvesting complex. Together forms what are called as antenna molecules. Light harvesting complex comprises antenna pigments associated with proteins. So antenna pigments and proteins together called as antenna complex. Their main function is to absorb light energy, that is harvest light energy, and transfer it to the respective reaction center. See, that means to say in PS1 there are 250 pigment molecules, in PS2 there are 300 pigment molecules. So what the role of antenna molecules? The main function of antenna molecule is to absorb light energy which comes in the form of photons, and they transfer the light energy into the reaction center for conversion into a chemical energy. So the transfer of that is the function of the antenna molecules. The core complex consists of a reaction center associated with proteins and also electron donors and acceptors. The light harvesting complexes are formed by the polypeptides which bind chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, carotene, and xanthophylls. These antenna pigments are predominantly chlorophyll B, xanthophyll, and carotenes antenna pigments. Chlorophyll A, known as a core pigment, their absorption spectra are non-overlapping and broaden the range of light that can be absorbed in photosynthesis. So, in general, antenna molecules are nothing but those molecules which are those pigments or molecules which are present in the photosystems, both PS1 and PS2 contains antenna molecules. So the in PS1 250 pigment molecules, in PS2 300 pigment molecules are there. All the pigments absorb 250 pigment molecules in PS1, 300 pigment molecules in PS2 absorb light energy, that is they trap light energy, they harvest light energy. But the conversion is brought about only by reaction center. So these antenna molecules are those molecules which are present in both PS1 and PS2. What they do is they transfer the light energy to the respective reaction center for conversion of light energy into chemical energy. So without these antenna molecules, light energy will not be converted into chemical energy. So after all knowing all these pigment molecules and their role and antenna molecules, so in the next slide we can, in the next lecture we can move on to the mechanism of photosynthesis, how the chlorophyll and its structure, how the pigment molecules present in chlorophyll are responsible in bringing about the light and dark reaction of photosynthesis. Thank you.